Hi guys, back here in my studio. That's a digital studio back there. And the other day I noticed that my head was blocking it. That's okay because that clip is kind of a secret still. I did want you guys to see it, but I just wanted to tease with it a bit. I didn't want to show the whole thing. But in today's video, I'm going to want you to see the clip. Because what we're going to be talking about is actually related to the clip we're showing you. So I'm going to slide myself a little bit that way. All right. Now hopefully I've slid to one side. Looks like I got a little blue there for a minute. That's weird. So hopefully I slid to one side. And what should have happened there is, since it's a blue screen behind me, the background won't move, but I can move myself. As long as I don't stick out towards, I can even shrink myself a little bit. But I can't bring myself up because I'll have no torso from here down because it's not really there. But digitally I should be able to move myself around. Now I am going to reach out here for a second, so things might get a little funky. This is a mag light. Okay? It is the minimum amount of light you can use for the trick I'm going to tell you. Or at least I believe it is. It's the least output that'll work. And they're pretty strong, right? So, let's say you have a scene like I did in Stop Dead where the vehicle needs to look like it's moving very quickly. And you have characters on it moving around, but you can't actually move the vehicle very quickly because it's a large, heavy vehicle, and it's not safe to move it quickly on a public road, and you don't have any private road long enough to do a chase like this. Okay, and that was the situation we were in. So what we did was I had a PA stand outside, and whatever actors weren't working, shook the RV a little bit. And you don't want to have too many people do it because you can actually tip an RV over if you're not careful. And then the PA outside, she had a stronger light than this. She had one of those 100-watt clamp lights that we showed you in the other scenes. But we have used a mag light before. We used it in Dark Rose Feeding and Breeding, my first feature. What you want to do is make sure that this glints off the windows. It goes across characters' faces. So if it's in the front of a car, you want to show it go up the light itself, not the flashlight, right? But the light from the flashlight. Wash up the windshield, wash across their faces. If they're driving in a car and you're shooting inside the car, you want to go past their faces or so. So you just kind of do this, bring it down off shot, bring it back up, bring it down off shot, bring it back up. And the effect is that they're passing lights, or that other cars are passing them. And this helps you create a false movement. Now if you've got a great blue screen and your camera's good and your lighting's nice and even and you can put a background in of cars moving behind the character, that's great. And if you can do it to the side and to the other character's side and you get a blue cube you can park an entire car in, or if you've got blue sheets you can put in there and actually get it all lit right, that's great. Go ahead and do that. But watch out for some pitfalls. One, it shouldn't be too focused. If your background is as focused as your foreground and your camera's this close to the person, that's not going to read right, because when the lens is this close to the person, the background is generally out of focus, right? You're concentrating on the person in the shot. The other thing, make sure the cars don't look 40 feet tall. When you do a green screen or a blue screen, and during the day this will be the better way to do it, right? This trick with the light only works at night. But when you put an image in the background, if you don't scale it correctly, it can look like a Toyota's passing somebody and all you see is the wheel in the window. Or the background does this because it was recorded from a moving car. If any of those things happen, then what you're going to see is that it's a very fake screen. Putting it a little bit out of focus will also help with that. But you want to try and control the size of the cars around it and everything else. You also need to make sure your footage runs long enough. You don't want to have to loop it too much, okay? Because if you have to loop your background footage too much, it's going to become noticeable. Side to side, make sure that it is the proper side of the car. So like, you don't want to have people, I mean, if you're shooting, and this is important too, if you're in England, then cars on that side will be going that way, right? And cars on this side will be going this way. If you're in America, then cars on that side will be traveling the same direction as you, and cars on that side will be going that way. It's best to try and be on a one-way road. That'll make things a little bit easier. New York and stuff like that is great. Country footage is great too. City footage can get a little rough with buildings and addresses and changes and people and everything else. Country footage where it's just trees and bushes and blurs of green going by or blurs of rocks going by, that can work pretty well. The faster your car is supposed to be moving, the easier it is to blur that stuff out, and easier, right? But at night, you could just black out the windows, or what we did for a couple of scenes, we parked in the garage, what's great about this is you get fantastic sound when you're parked in the garage. I mean, not fantastic, you can get a little bit of echo and stuff, right? But you don't have to worry about all that noise outside. And the reason we actually shot it this way, we planned to shoot it underneath the light out front. But the kids across the street were playing basketball. And when you're an independent filmmaker, you don't get to tell people to stop playing basketball. You don't get to tell people they can't drive by your house. You don't get to close entire streets or do any of the things that the big guys get to do that make their movies look more polished than your movie, right? Because you don't have the permission to shoot outside in the first place sometimes, and you certainly don't have the right to tell other people that they can't be out there playing basketball. So we decided, well, let's try and shoot inside. And we tried it inside, and we turned down all the lights, and we shone a big bright light like we're doing here on their face. We brought it down a little bit. We had footage of a police car parked outside underneath a street lamp. So that was the car we used for the exterior. We showed that from the back, then we flipped to the front interior of the car. It was actually my Saturn Vue with some mesh in the back to make it look like there was a cage behind them in the seats. They had their whole conversation there, Mike Christopher and Joanne, and they did their little sheriff spiel. I think they might have had 2 conversations in that scene where we shot 2 different scenes there. But the audio was, and we got to put the microphone right in the window, right? In a closed room, instead of outside in a street, in traffic, whatever. So now if you add this movement effect to it, you can make it look like they're driving. You can record sound in your car, ambient noise of the car driving, and actually put that in. But you decide how loud it is now, right? It's not your actors like in Lumber vs. Jack. We actually shot in the car, and I had a microphone in the cup holder. I thought this would be an excellent idea. It was not. The driving footage itself looked pretty good, right? I mean, we're moving, we got the camera in the front, you could see all 4 of us. Sunroof open, you get some light in there. But we didn't have a camera person in the car. And we could not control how much road noise and other stuff there was. So the people in the front, where the microphone was in the cup holder, great. The people in the back, not so great. I wish I myself had thought to do this, but that was a daytime shot, and green screen movement at that time in a car was not something I was terribly comfortable with. We will probably be trying that again soon. There's another effect we're going to do that if it works, I will show you. If it fails terribly, I will also show you, because terrible failures are funny. But so that's it. So you put them in a room, you put black sheets over the back of the back window or over the side window, whichever direction. Maybe use that black foam core board and put it a couple of inches away from the window so it doesn't, you don't get wrinkles or anything. And then boom, boom, boom. And as long as you don't have anything stationary in the background like the light. So for those scenes, you're not going to want to light them from outside, because then that light on their face isn't going to move, and that'll look unnatural. What you're going to do there is take a light like that fluorescent one we showed you, or one of the 100 watters, or even one of these, and put it underneath where the steering wheel will be, and make it look like the dashboard lights. Like this one won't work because it's so focused. If we broaden it up a little bit, right, put it down there, and it's kind of like, the dashboard lights. This one doesn't work well at all. Those neon ones that I showed you, the fluorescent lights that I showed you, work pretty well. One of these floods with a CFL, the clamp lights with a CFL in it, should work pretty well, or a nice soft light. Maybe give it a blue or green tint, but you want it to look like the speedometer light and everything else shining up from the dashboard on their face, and then the moving light going across their face, and there you go. And if you've got it in you, if they stop in a scene, have a character, have somebody with a light that they can shine on them with a red and green filter, right? So they stop, and you have the red light on the windshield, and then switch it off, put the green filter, switch it on, boom, the light changed, right? I mean, how great is that going to look? So use light creatively, use it to create movement, use it to create the illusion of being outside, and that should help you get better audio and allow you to do some scenes that you may not otherwise be able to do, like, moving traffic and stuff like that. Don't forget some sound effects, honking horns, stuff like that. Some traffic noise if they're supposed to be in a city. And, the nice thing is, though, with the background noise, since you're adding it yourself later, you get to control how loud it is. So you can have their voices be the thing up front and the background noise be a background noise, right? Just there for effect. All right, guys, I worked a bit today out of the cabin, which will be a whole other episode of this, so I'm going to cut this one here, and we'll be back with more on scheduling, more on my electrical kit, and just stuff like that. We're almost at the end of the year, guys, and I've missed like 1 or 2 days out of those days we were trying to do, but we're at like 286 videos, and we wanted to be at 300 on YouTube by the end of the year. Let's see if we can pull it off, all right? Stick with me. We're going to make it fun. Bye-bye.